And we've had about 24 hours since United were dumped out of the Champions League by Bayern Munich. And just before we came on air, you were saying that you're off on your hollybobs to Australia and India. And by the time you get back, Ten Hag may have been sacked. Are you looking forward to it?
Yes, I am looking forward to it, to be honest. But it's also going to be a really weird time for Premier League games because they're going to be played at like 3 or 4 a.m. in the 3 or 4 a.m. So I'm thinking, am I going to get up to watch us get battered by Liverpool on Sunday? Am I going to get up to watch Ten Hag's last game as Man United manager, or should I do the sensible thing and just sleep? But I know I'm a masochist like everyone else, and I'm going to get up and just wallow in the grief that is Man United.
I don't have too many 4 a.m.s here. I have quite a few 7 a.m.s. But 4 a.m.s are pretty brutal, especially this season. Man, there's just almost nothing to look forward to at the moment. I mean, we'll get on to Liverpool at the weekend, but I like 99.9% of Manchester United fans. I'm absolutely dreading that one. Before then, I guess we should talk about the Bayern game and United being knocked out of the Champions League, which will have some pretty serious repercussions, not only for the question mark over Ten Hag's future, and there kind of has to be some serious questions. Don't there, United having lost 50% of the games, more than 50% of the games we played this season, it's just extraordinary. So
it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the manager of any elite club, and I think I'm being generous with United there at the moment, would be under pressure with that kind of record. So of course he's under pressure. Last night, it was kind of a different approach, really. It was tried to kill the chaos by being just very much more circumspect in midfield. Scott McTominay and Amrabat just kind of sitting there. And McTominay, I guess, was a kind of dual 8, but much more conservative than he has been. As a result, he got more touches, didn't produce anything. 0.02 XG. XA, expected assists from Scott McTominay last night. He apparently had one key pass, which I was trying to work out what it was. I guess did he pass it ball sideways for Luke Shaw to have our one shot on target last night? Was that it?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, I didn't hate the approach. I hated the approach when we went 1-0 down and didn't at all go out all out. Yeah, not do anything or go out all out attack, or at least just put a defender up top and just bombard the box or anything. We didn't do anything like that. It was just such a pathetic way to go out, to be honest. Because I watched the Sevilla game before that, and Sevilla were, and also we could have got into the Europa League, and I think personally, like, I wouldn't have wanted us to get into the Europa League, but the manager should want to stay in Europe and do exactly. Yeah. So, but I watched the Sevilla game before against Lens, and they chucked Sergio Ramos up top at the end, and were just launching balls into the box. Literally how United used to do it all the time when we needed a goal, just get the ball into the box. And that was a pathetic end to the game. But the rest of it, like, I didn't mind it at all. I didn't mind the approach, but it just makes me think, like, why haven't we chosen this approach more in the Champions League this season?
Yeah.
Like, how have we managed to be so open and like that Galatasaray game? And I know Anan is at fault for 2 of the goals, and without that, we would have been, I think, especially the second one, probably plain sailing. But still, like, the approach it's been baffling throughout the Champions League. And then yesterday, it was all right. But I think also we need to kind of take into the fact that this Bayern team isn't that good. And I kind of think yesterday, like, were United kind of better, and did they do well at kind of just holding and fending Bayern off? Or is it just the fact that Bayern are, just not a great team at the moment, and they haven't been a great team under Tuchel, and obviously they lost 5-1 at the weekend as well. They had some great results, but it was hard to decipher for me. And also they're through the group and playing in second, third gear or whatever, so it's difficult to decipher there. But like, it's I didn't hate the approach until the end, where, like I say, it was just a pathetic, awful way to go out.
Mm. Well, it was, yeah. It was definitely more conservative from United, and you can kind of understand that, having now under severe pressure, having lost at the weekend, being open yet again. United have been sort of battered by teams in transitional moments through midfield all season. Ten Hag has invented this new formation called the donut, which is there's absolutely nobody in midfield all the time, and because the high press doesn't quite function as it should, it's not as coordinated as it should be. United get pressure gets to the back four much more quickly than it should do, right? So Ten Hag's trying to solve that problem. He solved it by asking McTominay and Amrabat to just sit there a bit more. It did mean that United created hardly any chances, just the one shot on target. That was Luke Shaw's effort from like 20 yards, which was pretty easily saved, went straight at Neuer, and just nothing. I think it was Adam Crafton on Twitter said, United chasing a game used to be one of the most exciting things in sport. And he's right, it used to be. Now we just don't even expect it. And I think the thing that worries me most about Ten Hag is, like, what is it we're building here? I mean, we can talk about the injuries and we can make a lot of excuses. And there are 13 players out. I think 12 injured and Jadon Sancho banished. And obviously, Greenwood banished as well. So there's some mitigation there. But I feel like a broken record saying it over and over again. Shouldn't we get more of an idea of like what he wants to build, even though he's got all these injuries? I just don't feel like other managers in similar situations like change their approach from game to game to do that. I mean, Newcastle have had some dodgy results, some injuries, not as many as us. Che plays same way, basically. Ange Postecoglou at Tottenham playing exactly the same way, even though he's got injuries, and to mixed results. And you'd kind of expect that when you can't play your first 11. Ten Hag completely dumped his philosophy and he's still losing. So, like, what's the point? And that's the most worrying thing. Laurie Whitwell pointing out in The Athletic this week that there's quite a few reasons why Ten Hag won't be sacked. One is incoming new investors. They're going to want to assess what's going on, I'm sure. And second is, I basically just can't afford it. We're right at the limit on FFP. Didn't manage to get any decent sales in the summer, as always, basically. And so there's really no headroom. And sacking Ten Hag and his team would cost north of 15 million. And that does go on as wages, right? Because it's compensation, so it would count against FFP. And so he's here, and he's got to fix it. And he's looking at an absolutely horrible rest of the year, which could be completely disastrous. More disastrous than finishing bottom of a Champions League group that included Copenhagen and Galatasaray.
Yeah. The weird thing about like Ten Hag, in my opinion, is kind of how he's so rigid with his philosophy. How he's so not rigid with his philosophy, apart from when he wants to play a left footer at left centre back, and he won't move at all on that.
No,
he won't move at all on that until last night. And Varane looked completely capable, didn't he?
Oh, what a surprise! 5 times Champions winner, World Cup winner, Rafa Varane. He can play left centre back. Like, it's not fucking hard, is it?
And I feel like the way that like Varane progressed with the ball and kept playing it with his left foot, I felt like he was like doing that on purpose. Like, he's like, no, I'm just going to keep using my left foot to like show that guy show that guy on the sideline. Yes, I can actually use like my left foot. And what was weird as well was when Johnny Evans came on, he went to right centre back, and Varane is still at left centre back. Like it's bizarre. Like we've obviously spoken loads and loads about the pragmatism of Ten Hag. Initially, early on, was great to see. We did think he had it in him. We thought he was going to be really dogmatic, and he's the complete opposite of that. And he spoke about the press. We've not got a coordinated press. We've not got a coordinated style of football. We chop and change from game to game. Our build-up changes from game to game. I feel like that's why Nana is probably struggling to also play his game, like coming off his line. Do I come off my line? Like, how deep's the defense going to be in this game? How high is the defense going to be in this game? How do you want me to play out? Do you want me to play long up to Højlund? I feel like every type of possible way to style a football match, a way to set out your team is up in the air from game to game. And it's just madness. And we joked about, this probably being my last podcast with Ten Hag as the manager. Also, I haven't been doing this podcast very long, and we've already apparently seen off 3 managers by the looks of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's fucking chaos. It's chaos on the pitch, and it's definitely chaos in the boardroom at United. And at this point, you have to question almost everything that has been done in the last 2 years since Ed Woodward left. I mean, that was a mess because Joel Navram can't make a decision. Takes them forever to do anything, and they don't know what they're doing. And Ed Woodward was getting a boner every week playing Football Manager, but with real money, and it's like, it was so pathetic. And then you got Richard Arnold come in. Everyone says he's a nice guy. He met fans down the pub. He got promoted too soon to a role that he wasn't suited for, right? And we saw that when the crises hit, especially Mason Greenwood, but others too, the indecisive decision-making and lack of leadership really kind of shone through. And then you've got the real damage, which is John Murtaugh being, the embodiment of the Peter principle, being promoted to a position for which he's definitely not suited. He spent his entire career in youth development, and now he's football director at one of the world's largest clubs, and he's never done he's learning on the job. I think I said this before, was it Trapattoni said when Gianluca Vialli got the Chelsea job, it was a learner driver taking a Ferrari out. It's and it feels like that. And I do that again and again and again and again. People who are like inexperienced in their roles being appointed. And as a result, we've had this absolutely disastrous transfer strategy for the last few years. And they've overhauled it under Murtaugh. They've got Murtaugh, they've got Brown as head of recruitment, they've got Andy O'Brien, the deputy football director, and they've got more than 140 scouts apparently around the world and all this data. And then they just go to Erik, hey, what do you want? 55 million for a goalkeeper who's free 12 months before. Yeah, no problem. 60 million for a midfielder you've got no idea what to do with, and is in the last year of his contract. Yeah, sure thing. 100 million on Anthony, who's provided no goals in the last 24 games he's played. None. And you know how many assists he's got this season as well? None. Fuck all, zilch, nada, rien. A fucking disaster this club is, and we get everything we deserve. Sorry, I'm going on a rant.
It's true. But then it's also like the thing is that I think it is the end of Ten Hag now. I don't personally think there's any point of carrying on because of the reasons that we just spoke about, how there's no clearly defined style and no team cohesiveness, and everything's fallen apart just like it's ever done before. And I don't see how that changes. However, the problem is, especially right now where there's a complete vacuum, leadership vacuum, and we're going through this process of Ineos apparently taking over the football side of the business. How can you even get rid of a manager for one? Like as Laurie Whitwell said in that piece, like it's impossible for the stand-in CEO Patrick Stewart from Star Trek. How can he get rid of the guy who's in charge? And also, how do they know what they want right now? They don't know what they want right now. Like they surely need to do a complete strategy overhaul. Like get like I said on one of the podcasts before, a 12-month, a 5-year, a 10-year plan in place, a 20-year plan in place, so they know where they want to take this shit. And how can you do that right now? Yeah. That's the problem about. And I know it's not great to just have some guy, Ten Hag, like sitting in charge, like he's a caretaker manager kind of thing. But the problem is, what else do you do? Like the only thing I think personally, what's saving Ten Hag now is that problem of, if we sack him, where the hell do we go? Like again, in Laurie Whitwell's Athletic piece, he was kind of listing some of the people who might be up for the job. And like one of their names was Antonio Conte. It's like, imagine if we ended up turning to him. Like, it. I mean, it's just disaster upon disaster upon disaster. And this Ten Hag appointment felt like a bit of a change from the norm, to be honest. It wasn't just the biggest name out there. It wasn't just a guy like Solskjaer, a former club legend type of thing. It felt like a little bit left field. Yeah, this guy's done a great job in Holland. He's got a clear, defined style of play. He'll bring that over. He's an up-and-coming manager. We're not turning to someone like Pochettino, who's had a bit of a bad time at Paris Saint-Germain and all that kind of thing. It felt quite forward-thinking. And now it's like, well, where do we go from here? Like, what on earth do we do? And the only thing you can do is fix the strategy first, and then you combine, and then you pull in a manager, and then if it doesn't work from there, you've at least got a succession plan in place. And then you bring in another manager who fits the same style and fits the same system, and then you keep progressing through it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, fix the structure first. I mean, I think we thought we'd move forward with Murtaugh, but it's clear he doesn't know what he's doing. Like, you cannot look at United's business. Like, just the clip going around on social today of like the ridiculousness of Anthony, like doing 15 step overs, passing it to Dalot, then kicked it out of play, right? I was just laughing at that. And it's so stupid and so on. The caption was, this sums up these two. And it kind of did, right? That's why it's funny and that's why it's gone viral. But those two are just like, it's not just that moment and their ineffectiveness on the pitch. That moment sort of defines United's shitty strategy in terms of football. The massive fee for Anthony, because we left it right to the end of the window, and Edward van der Sar squeezed United for absolutely everything he could get because Ten Hag was desperate. Because remember, that was after we'd been smashed by Brighton and Brentford right at the end. And rightly, Ajax demanded a premium, and stupidly we paid it. And then Dalot's just been given a 5-year contract, even though we know he's not good enough, right? We know it. Yeah. But we gave him a 5-year contract on a wage that means we'll never be able to get rid of him.
The thing is, when we brought Dalot in the first place, Dalot was supposed to be just like this up-and-coming good right-back. And if he makes it and he ends up being really good, fantastic. But if he ends up being what he is now, then you just kind of sell him and like no harm done, because he was kind of always brought in with potential. We're the sort of club that basically we bring in a guy like that and we're like, oh shit, we're going to have to just play him, and then he can be the second choice at the right back, even though he's not very good, and then we'll give him a 5-year contract because honestly, it's
bonkers. It's bonkers.
It is bonkers.
Hardly played him for 2 years, sent him out on loan. He came back, did okay for part of last season. They were like, oh, well, you were okay, so we'll give you a brand new fight. Mental.
I mean, how many times has that happened? How many times has that
over
happened?
And over again?
Maybe they're not gone on loan or whatever, but like, we just reward mediocrity. It's incredible. I mean, I wish I were
with
there.
Massive amounts of money. Yeah, God, I wish they'd scout me. Like, 5-year contract. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'll take that. I mean, like, what we need to do is, stretching the Star Trek analogy, is beam Joel Glazer out into space and let the fucking fuck die there. Sorry, I've said the F word about 20 times this podcast, but honestly, the situation demands it. It's like the sooner we get that guy away from... I mean, the best thing the Glazers have ever done is realize they're incompetent, which I think might have happened. I'm just guessing. I think might have happened. They realize they cannot run this the football side of this business. Can't even run the commercial side because United will shrink again next year, and other clubs are going way past us, right? So, but they definitely can't do the football side of things. That translates down to the mess on the pitch, and Murtaugh has to own his hiring of first Ralf Rangnick, remember him, and now Erik Ten Hag, and we're not sure. Well, Rangnick definitely didn't work out, and Ten Hag looks like it's not going to work out, bar a major turnaround. And just to re-emphasize how damaging it is going out of the Champions League. I mean, immediately it's 10 million, the bonus for getting into the round of 16, and maybe no more than that, but there'll be a home game on top of that, maybe more than one home game, There's the impact on potential future commercial revenues and all of that kind of stuff. So we're talking tens of millions just this season. We're now in a worse position to qualify for next season because we didn't even make the Europa. So that's one avenue into next season's Champions League out, winning the Europa. England or the Premier League looks like on coefficient. So the top of the coefficient ranking gets one more place. At the moment, England, the Premier League's about 5 coefficient points ahead of Spain. But with United dropping out of the Champions League and possibly Newcastle as well, and 3 Spanish clubs in there, that could turn around. So we may be in the position where United finish 5th, because it doesn't really look like 4th is on, does it? Or better than that. Finish 5th, and then don't get into the Champions next season because we fucked the coefficient. So like that's, and then that costs tens of millions of pounds more in revenue, and presumably some kind of penalty in the new Adidas contract as well, and maybe even the Qualcomm contract. I don't think we've seen the details on that one. So, it's really serious financially, prestige, ability to bring in the right kind of players, ability to bring in the right kind of manager if that's going to change. There's very little leeway for Ineos to come in and change things around. In the Premier League terms, they could inject 105 million over a 3-year period as owner equity. So just like a loan converted to equity at some point. But they can't do that under UEFA rules. There's squad cost rule. They really can't do anything there. So I guess if we're not in Europe at all, fine, inject the money. But if we are of any flavour or shape of European competition, we have to follow UEFA rules. And so it's like really restricted. So this has a really negative impact on the club overall.
I am really worried about like the trajectory of United now. Like I've always been very downbeat about the way that we're going, and I've always kind of been very like snarky and sarcastic about our chances, and I think rightly so. I mean, it's been the whole time I've been doing this podcast, we've been just an absolute basket case of a club.
Yeah,
but like, and just look at the finances of the club. I look at the commercial. I look at the competition that we have now. I look at our recruitment. I look at the way that we're being perceived now as a football club. Like I saw Rio Ferdinand say, I saw Rio Ferdinand say, and we've said this ourselves a lot of times, but when it's coming from like a self-professed club legend like Rio Ferdinand, he said that like, why would you join Man United? And we've been saying that for a while now, but that is really becoming the case. And that's not just like a niche view anymore. That is a real, like, why would you join? Like, I look at Højlund as well. Like, Højlund's been as we said in the summer, that he's going to be thrust into the limelight. He's going to have all the pressure on him to succeed immediately because he's going to have to be the main man. And already I feel like his confidence is draining a little bit. And yesterday's performance, I think, was a bit of an epitome of that. Like, he got bullied. He got bullied in that game. And that's one of his main strengths, is his strength. And Pomacano and Kim just going through the back of him every single time. I think he had something like 10 touches in the first half and 24 in the second. By far the least touched player to touch the ball in the whole game. I think Anona had like double that.
Yeah.
And
24 overall, I think, rather than the second half.
24 overall, 10 and just 10 in the first half. It is so troubling. And like any player with any type of potential, surely you're just going to swerve us. And it's like,
well, you should do for the sake of your career. Yeah, I mean, like Højlund, we are a unique club. Maybe not unique, but pretty specialised at ruining talented players' careers. And so I look at Højlund, and there's no way he should have been the main man coming in. I mean, he came in injured for a start, and it looks like he's carried that injury the whole season so far, right? Some kind of back injury, and he had hardly any top level experience. And we brought him as the main man at 70 odd million euros, this huge fee, and put him under pressure straight away with dysfunctional attacking unit around him. No wonder it looks like he's failing. He may well come good, right? But we're not going to give him the platform to do it like this.
No.
And like it would have been like the fee is madness again, because there's no way he's done anything in football to justify that level of fee. You know, they made a 60 million euro profit for basically a season.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell for? He may well come really good, right? So make it incentivized. At least with Ahmad, when we bought him from Atalanta, like half of it was incentivized that we'll never pay.
Yeah.
I mean, at least there was that. Whoever did that deal, I guess it was Murtaugh, at least structured that one right. Not for Højlund, you know, and you know, paying the price for that. I mean, I guess they didn't want to spend the extra 30 million plus all the wages on Harry Kane, but he's got 22 goals and a bunch more assists for Bayern this season.
Yeah, and the difference is the difference is complete. Like it's so stark. Just watching last night's game, and I know I spoke about Bayern not being the greatest team in the world right now, but still, like and it's easier to go into a less dysfunctional team like that. But the quality difference is obviously so enormous. But then I feel like also one of the reasons why I feel like really, really low and really quite worried about our trajectory now is that if our finances and our commercial start to spiral and teams do start to like really just beat down on us and we do start slipping down that that table, is that we can't even incentivize through big wages anymore. Like even like the players that like have potential and probably a little bit skeptical of going to United, go to United because we can at least give them loads of money. But if we can't give them loads of money, what are we doing? We're like Liverpool in the mid-90s where like all we have is history. And that is really scary. That's what we're becoming now. Like we still right now have the financial might just about, but that's kind of catching up with us. We're a joke of a football club. We ruin players' careers. And if we haven't got the wages to spend as well, like what is going to happen? We can't appoint a manager. We can't recruit players. The academy produces some decent players, but they've all got their faults. And the players, in my opinion, don't seem to have the tactical nous to play in the first team especially well. And I feel like with Garnacho right now is screaming at me that he doesn't have quite the football IQ, which I expected him to have. I think KB Manu may be the difference. But if you look at McTominay, for example, you can tell he's almost a United graduate these days because he doesn't quite have the football IQ to play in that position. And it's the same with like, and then loads of our players that come through like Palestri and there's so many problems and it's making me really, really worried about the future. Before, like I was, like I say, a bit sarcastic, a bit snarky and thinking that, we'll eventually come good in the end. But now I'm like, oh my God, this could be doomsday and we could be really in a load of trouble. And also, like I say, the competition is one of the big things as well, where like, someone like Newcastle obviously going to get it right. And then all the other clubs seem to be doing things right. And that's scary as well.
Yeah. Yeah. The financial piece is interesting because in a sense, they've locked in some of the longer term stuff with Adidas and Qualcomm. I think right now it looks okay. In 10 years time, it's probably on Adidas, it's going to look not great compared to the competition, given the expansion of the global football market. And Qualcomm, it's 3-year deal, so they can reassess after a while. And maybe, I don't know, a related party might give us a little bit of a boost at some point. But other teams have overtaken us. So Manchester City, with all the 115 caveats about where they get their money from, have overtaken United by a long way. So have Real Madrid. Liverpool are ahead of us in terms of revenue generation as well. Likely, I mean, Barcelona this year is taking a dip because they are not playing at Camp Nou, but next year they will massively overtake United in terms of revenue. Arsenal and Tottenham are not far behind. They're now making more revenue from match day, not the commercial reach, global commercial reach, of course. So United may be like 10th in Europe in revenue generation in a couple of years' time. It wouldn't be surprising. That's not an outlandish scenario at all. So we then don't have the commercial might, as well as not having the intellect to actually execute anything. It's just, it's really easy to paint a kind of doomsday scenario about what's happening to the club now. Like, we've done that before, and there's been growth engines. They've managed to find new sponsors. There's still the biggest draw on the planet. That's why we get this huge deal with Adidas and so on. So it's just that the luster of success is not there and hasn't been there for a decade now. And clearly we're now media. Football is a media property, not just a community asset, sadly, right? And that media reach with casual fans, which makes up half of the revenue on broadcast, and probably even more given what people are buying there on commercials. United are no longer that star entity, and that will affect the club and has affected the club, and so it's right to paint a kind of doomsday scenario of all the structures. And then we got the crap on the pitch, which is really crap, which we barely talked about because there wasn't much to talk about. But
yeah. I mean,
all right.
Commercial partners also want to be aligned with success, and you see last night's result and performance, and just getting soundly beaten by a team in second gear who've just come off the back of a 5-1 loss. And I also kind of think, I wonder what Bayern fans think of us these days, and what I used to think of Bayern when I was growing up.
They sang it.
Well, exactly.
They sang it in English. You're shit, and you know you are.
Yeah. I just think all these football fans around Europe must just think we're a joke these days. I wonder if they pity us or kind of wish that United were good again, like some people do, or they just think, oh my God, this is hilarious, just watching this absolute basket case of a club. It's so sad.
All right. We have to do it. Before we go, we have to talk about United versus Liverpool at the weekend. I mean, at least when we get battered, it won't be in front of our own fans. Well, not that many. 3,000 travelling fans who will be there, and God bless them to give the team some kind of support. What are we going to see? I mean, I guess the best case for United is that we play it very tight and manage to get old Slabhead on the end of a set piece or something, and he score one of his very, very few goals. Oh, by the way, sorry, just to go back to this before we talk. Laurie Whitwell, after he's not going to actually, he's injured, isn't he, Maguire? So he won't be playing. But Laurie Whitwell, after Maguire limped off injured, said, "Oh, that's one of United's best chances of a goal in this game."
Oh wow!
He is. I looked it up. He is 128 among defenders for goal scoring over the last 5 years, out of the top 5 Euro leagues. 128. He's in the top 20 for shots. So he's basically very inaccurate, as we know, right? Because he can't get his massive frame off the ground to, I also think it was such a myth. His record at Hull, Sheffield United, and Leicester wasn't actually very good. He scored 1 goal in the World Cup for England, and everyone's like, "Yeah, this guy scores all the time."
That's it. Yeah, that was literally it. He had that
he gets 1-2, 1-2 for United, that kind of thing over the last few years.
He had a good header against Bournemouth, didn't he? Which I think left their top tipped over the ball. But yeah, can't really remember the last time he even got on the end of anything.
Steve Bruce once scored 19 goals in a season. I mean, admittedly, half of those were penalties, but still.
Yeah, that was a man who could head the ball.
Manny could do many things that Harrance Maguire, as Dan likes to call him, can't do. Anyway, Liverpool, God. That's the pattern, isn't it? We have to keep it really tight and hope we don't get smashed.
Yeah, it's the only way. And even if we're 2-0 down, I'd still keep it tight, because I feel like if we try and venture forward, I was speaking to my mate who's a Liverpool fan yesterday, and I know that's probably sounds a bit ridiculous to have a mate who's a Liverpool fan, but he was kind of saying that United are in such bad, Liverpool aren't in great form, and yeah, I don't see us battering you. And I'm like, you don't need to be in good form because Liverpool always turn up against United. Doesn't matter how bad they're playing. And this form of United just love to roll over to Liverpool. And that's what so makes me so fearful. Like right now, we're so brittle, we're so fragile that it feels like one or two early goals and this team will completely fold. And that's why you're completely right. Like we have to be really tight. We have to be really resilient. I mean, I don't know how you'd structure the midfield with the players available, but does that mean Mainu, Amrabat, and McTominay and a back four of
Yeah.
Varane, Evans, and Dalot on the left back and Wan-Bissaka at right back with the players available?
Yeah,
like that doesn't really
so.
scream, oh yeah, we're going to be absolutely fine, lads. And like us, and Liverpool are top of the league right now, but they're not playing particularly well. But that, like I say, that doesn't matter. That crowd will be really up for it. They'll be brave for blood. And I feel like we'll just serve up that blood on a platter if they score a couple of early goals, and we've got it in us. It's not like we've never. Oh yeah, under Ten Hag we've been great against Liverpool. What was it last season? 7-0. I think I turned it off after about 5 or 4 or 5. I mean, it can't be any worse on Sunday, can it?
I mean, we've lost.
But probably it can.
4, 7, and 5 in recent seasons, haven't we, to Liverpool? So yeah, of course it can be worse. And United have shipped 3 goals or more at home 5 times this season. I know we're away. Our record away isn't very good either. So it's of course we can get battered. And yet, Liverpool is still trying to find their mojo this season. I think. I mean, are they top of the table at the moment? I can't remember exactly.
I think they are. Yeah.
Yeah, and they didn't play very well against Fulham. They didn't play very well against Palace at the weekend, but they're getting the results. But I mean, I think we said it before: the system of pressing our back four high, who will give the ball to them, and their ability to then either turn over or transition through our empty midfield, it's just perfectly set up to annihilate us. I mean, Mainu have to play because he's the only player who's going to give United any kind of control. I mean, he came on with 10 minutes yesterday and just started making sensible turns, finding his own space, distributing the ball. And you're like, okay, yeah, he's already a class above everything United have got.
Yeah.
Not to put too much pressure on the lad, but we need performance from you at Anfield, please, sir. Amrabat's been a disaster of a signing. He's so basic and limited, and you're like, what the hell? This is entirely about finances, wasn't it? United will obviously convert that at like a £60 million fee and £500,000 a week in wages on an 8-year contract because we're dumb. McTominay, we know his limitations. He played more conservative and he offers nothing to the team. He goes forward, he might get you a goal, but United ship a bunch of goals then because there's a big gaping hole in midfield. So it's really, really hard problem for Ten Hag to solve. Not helped by Bruno getting himself booked against Bournemouth in one of the most dumb things I've seen a United player do on the pitch quite some time. I mean, it's spectacularly dumb.
But a lot of conspiracy theories out there about that yellow card as well. Which is
right. He just wants to he doesn't want to have to take the battering, so he got himself out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, considering what he did last season when in that game, because he fell apart mentally, which obviously garnered a lot of headlines and a lot of abuse from certain quarters and stuff. But considering what happened to him last year and the whole team. But you want players like that to be playing, obviously, despite what happened last year and despite his attitude at times, which is dismal and abysmal, you do want players to be playing like that because the back seven that we kind of just spoke about there's, I mean, Kobe Maino aside, there is, and I guess Varane, a fit Varane, 2 quality operators at their best. But one is, been shafted by Ten Hag in recent weeks and is probably not at his prime form. And one is some young lad who, in the few games he's played, looked better than everyone else. But there's such a soft underbelly in that team, and the slightest provocation and the slightest like sign of adversity, and we just crumble. And I'm so scared. I'm so scared. I imagine most United fans are probably feeling the same. The way I think we went into that Bournemouth game off the back of our best performance of the season against Chelsea, thinking if we can win today, we can finally pick up a bit of momentum. We've obviously had a good month in November. Newcastle result aside, beating Chelsea in a performance which looked like we've turned a corner a little bit. Going to Bournemouth, beat them nicely. Going to Bayern, maybe get a result. And now look what's happened in the past 2 games. Fucking losing 3-0 to Bournemouth, getting just outplayed by a team in second game, got battered 5-1 at the weekend. And now going into this Liverpool game, like, it's facing the abyss. And I don't like this. I don't like the look of the abyss.
No, and it's deep and it's dark and it's very hard to climb out of.
It is.
Best case scenario, United make this game messy, defend well, defending the block. I guess even better case scenario, manage to pick them off on the transition or with a set piece somewhere or a pot shot, or the referee goes mental and throws one in their net, which that'd be nice.
I think that's the only way we're scoring, to be honest, because who are we kidding? We're not going to score a goal in transition, surely.
Yeah, I know. And then, I mean, maybe this is a free hit as a result. No one expects anything out of this as long as it doesn't turn into another 5, 6, 7. But then it's like, how do you pick this squad and team up for the remaining fixtures this month? West Ham away, they're not playing well, just got battered by Fulham. David Moyes seems to be perpetually on the abyss with this team. But, it's their biggest game of the season because for some completely bizarre reason, West Ham fans seem to hate United and are up for that one. Because, I don't know, we've ruined all their childhoods as usual. And then playing Aston Villa, the form team in the country. And I think who have we got after that? Is that Forest after that to close out the year?
Yeah.
And you wouldn't back United confidence destroyed to get anything out of it.
Well, we went 2-0 down at home against them earlier in the season.
Well, that's true. That second half was probably one of our better performances. Yeah. All right. So what do we think the team is? Nana, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Evans, and Dalot, and then Kobbie Mainoo, Amrabat, McTominay, and Garnacho, Anthony, and who? Is Rashford going to be? He was ill. Could he be back? Could Martial be back? So
I think. Well,
it's unclear, isn't it?
It's really unclear. And like you said earlier about Højlund trying to manage his minutes a little bit, like that. It's not an ideal scenario having to play this guy who's not fully fit clearly, and or what are we going to do? Bring in a flu-ridden Martial? Like, is there a chance that he could press less when ill? Like, is that even possible?
No.
Like, could he look like less bothered? Like. And then current, maybe he'll do the opposite and do like Michael Jordan did that time when he had flu and was absolutely unbelievable. I'm not holding my breath. And yeah, the Rashford thing was interesting, wasn't it? Like, I mean, a lot of people saw him not being in the squad and being like, is he really ill kind of thing after like him being dropped for a couple of games and then only coming on against Bournemouth when 3-0 down. I mean, I hope to God he's back at the weekend and despite his bad form, because at least he's one of, actually thinking about the whole team, really, him and Garnacho are probably the only 2 players who can conjure something out of nothing with Bruno not being there.
Yeah.
I mean, Anthony, look, just the way that he shoots the ball, like in the first 5 minutes of the game yesterday, he did that classic thing, didn't he? Cut into his left and then smash it into the second tier of the East End. Like,
I mean, he still does work hard. I'll give Anthony that.
Hey.
He's one of the few that doesn't seem to give up, and I don't mind him smashing some players.
No.
At least he's got some fighting. So he's got that, but he's a one-trick pony. He's like Arjen Robben, but with no pace, less skill, no shooting ability. Like he's like a pound shop Arjen Robben, except he was 100 million pound shop Arjen Robben.
It's hilarious because if you're a defender, usually with Arjen Robben or whatever, you'd be like, don't show him on his left, don't show him on his left. With Anthony, you're like, show him on his left, show him on his left. We're just going to smash it out for a goal kick and we're going to get the ball back in a second. Like, he does the same thing every single time. And you just look at the technique and you're like, we were told when we were like 5 years old at our first football coaching session, don't lean back when you kick the ball. And he does it every single time. It's like he's taking a goal kick.
Yeah.
Crazy.
The balance isn't right.
So yes, the individual
extraordinary that United paid that.
Yeah.
For that.
So the individual quality is not coming
mental.
from him either. So like we really do need Rashford to be there, at least in the squad, capable of coming on for half an hour or whatever. Because the only other way we're scoring really is, like you say, either from a corner kick or the referee picking up the ball and just booing it in for us.
Please, I would love that. That'd be absolutely amazing. Ball goes in off the ref. The conspiracy theories, it's like, and then they've got to release the VAR audio that says, ball's coming off the ref. Is that a goal? Is that a goal? I don't know. Kev, is that a goal?
Good.
Yes, Kev, let's give it.
Good process, guys. Good process.
And then an apology tweet from, what's his name? Howard Webb. I don't think he's on Twitter, but apology statement. Just to wind the Scousers up a bit more.
It'd be beautiful
please,
to see Klopp
Erik,
as well.
Please. I mean, people seem to like him. He's the rudest asshole amongst Premier League managers.
Did you see that?
Absolutely no reason.
Did you see that one where the guy goes to him, kind of made a joke about the 12:30 kickoff?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
He's done it multiple times in the recent weeks. If that was someone in like normal discourse, in a pub, say, he'd have his teeth put through to the back of his head, wouldn't they? I mean, not by me, because I don't think I'm very good at fighting, but someone would.
Literally, a guy tries to make like the most vanilla joke in the world, and then he just gets so offended by it. It's like, oh my God, mate, grow up.
Yes. Anyway, so best case scenario, we luck out on a win, and it boils the piss amongst the Scousers. That would be fantastic. Worst case scenario, beautiful. Well, we've seen that already, haven't we? And we know what it looks like.
That's true, yeah.
All right, folks. Thank you very much for putting up with this, and we'll catch you after the weekend.